Hi, I'm Ben. This is my wife Gigi, and we set out in 2017 on our journey to follow our passion and own our very first hotel. While away in Australia and the Philippines, I rediscovered Bitcoin, and by the time we came back home some 3 months later, I had turned $500 into over $10,000 just by trading crypto. I was hooked and started this YouTube channel to help others profit from crypto. So 7 years ago, I began this journey of trading, done very, very well in that particular market. But recently, because of the way that things have been going with that market, I've come now into stocks and I've been testing the waters. And I've got to say, so since last week, when maybe you saw this, things are looking a bit up. We only put a tiny amount of money into this account with eToro. We were down to 850, and that's now back up to 905. So we're looking a little bit better than we were. I'm just going to briefly run through again what stocks it is that I'm holding, why I'm holding them, and also talk about the couple of new trades that I've got on. These are great trade ideas for you if you're trading stocks. You can sort of look into my explanations as to what it is that I'm doing and why. But there is one little caveat to that. You see, I didn't actually make all of my money trading stocks. I made it in another market that you've just seen about. And if you have a look at my stats here, you can see that I actually started this account in November last year. I opened it up, put in £1,000, so it was like $1,200, and put on some trades, and they didn't go so well. They went pretty terribly, to be honest. And this was really just a test because I wanted eToro so I could go short on stocks, because on my tax-free ISA, where I can trade and go long and make all the gains I like and never have to pay any capital gains tax whatsoever. So I've got to say, if you're in the UK and you've got the ability, okay, to set up a tax-free stocks and shares ISA, I absolutely recommend it. You can still, even after the Chancellor just brought out all her changes to ISAs, with a stocks and shares ISA, you can still put in up to £20,000 per year, and all of the earnings are 100% tax-free. So that is definitely what you want to do if you can do it. But eToro I opened up for a little bit of fun, and through December I did absolutely nothing with it at all. I had no fun at all because I was basically Christmas shopping, hanging out with friends, and definitely not coming in to look at charts and stuff like that. So I didn't do anything at all. And then this year, it was only really last week when I started doing these videos that I actually came into my office, opened up some charts and had a look at the account for the first time since way back before December. So please don't be too harsh in the comments with the state of this account, but let's just instead focus on where we go from now and how we actually recover this from the terrible start that this account has had. First on the list is Okta, and with Okta we can see that it was been doing really, really well. This is more of an AI play, so AI obviously a really big thing right now. Okta is well within that space, making a lot of use of AI for online security, and you can see that it was in a downward trend. It's now just recently broken out, likely to go up, and you'd expect it to go up anyway. If you have a look here through the revenues, and you can see how those revenues are just earning more and more and more over time. So this is a growing company. We're expecting the price to also grow. We've turned this is to go down, so this is a short position that I have, and it actually is my best performing position right now on eToro. You can see that one is actually up quite a bit, or at least quite a bit relative to the size of the account. So obviously that's gone up like crazy and should also be coming back down as well, at least down to the moving average. Lazy Boy we did have, we don't anymore. So this was a short position. Unfortunately, thanks to a stop loss, it's no longer in us because the price spiked up, hit the stop loss, and then went immediately back down as we thought it would do. And this is one of the reasons why I think I made so much in the past trading cryptocurrencies, was because I never, ever used stop losses. For the first time in my life, having been trading or trying to trade since 2010, for for the first 7 years, I was always using stop losses, always getting stopped out, always basically not stopping me losing, but guaranteeing that I take a loss. And that happened for about 7 years before getting into crypto trading. And then from there, I never used stop losses at all. I would just buy whatever I wanted to buy, put it in a hardware wallet, and just hold it until I wanted to sell it. But with this sort of stuff, particularly on eToro, they force you to take a stop loss. So, I think you should just try and put that stop loss as far back as you can and just try not to use it unless you're actually in the position of profit where you think maybe the price is going to collapse and come down, and you just want to put it in to actually stop you from making a loss, or at least help you to make more of the gain and keep more of the gains that you've made. This is AMD. This is like a hardware manufacturing company in the US. They make a lot of wooden stuff. You can see this is definitely going to be coming down, because if you have a look through the earnings, you can see here they were making 400 in revenue and making a very healthy 1.7 on earnings. And then that 1.7 fell to 1, and now they're only making 400. And then over here it went to 394, and they're making half again on earnings. And expected coming up is now going down to 358 and only a 0.1, so very close to break even now. They are struggling. They really are struggling, and I think this is a top short position, and right now it's just broken out of that little upward Hail Mary hopes that they had there. But yeah, I think that's going to come down. It's going to come down quite a long way. HubSpot, complete opposite. This is just going like crazy. Check out the revenues. It's 669. We'll just make this fast. 714, 809, and it's just making more and more gains. So it's expected now to make 830, so getting on $1 billion in revenue, and 2.9 of earnings as well. These are really growing. You can see pre-market here in the orange. It's expected to be opening and doing much better today, so this should come out of this descending wedge and fly all the way up here into the sort of 900s, because before, over here back in February 2025, so around this time last year, it was up almost at about $900, and back then it was doing 700 in revenue, whereas now it's expected to do 830 in revenue, and back then it was barely breaking even, whereas now it's in a very healthy profit. And that isn't the first time it was at 900. So if you go back even further over here, so it went up to about 850, 860. And back in those days, it was only doing $330 million in revenue and actually making a loss. So back then it was valued at near $900 a share when it was doing like just a third of the revenue it's doing now and making a loss. And over here this time last year, it was valued at about 900 a share, and it wasn't making as much money and barely breaking even. Now it's definitely making a very healthy profit. It's doing almost $1 billion in revenue per quarter, and it's all the way down here at $300 when it should probably be back up there at 9 at some point this year. I think it will do, and when it does get back up to about that level, you're looking at about 168% gain. When you consider that with something like the S&P, where they say that, over the last 50 years, you would have made about 10% per year. If you can make 168% in 1 year on one stock, that's probably worth getting in your portfolio, right? So for me, definitely HubSpot well deserves to be in there, and I've got it in this and also my other portfolios as well. This one here, WIT, this one actually went out on a stop loss again. I did say in the last video last week that I should be selling it because it was absolute junk. I didn't have a chance to sell it because it just collapsed last week and come out on a stop loss. I was hoping, like lazy boy, it would have been just underneath the upward trend. It wasn't. It was all the way down here at 257, so pretty much at the absolute bottom, the worst possible place. That's where I got stopped out. I took a fair loss on that, as a percentage, but realistically I've only got $1,000 in the account, so it's no big deal. ESPR, this one is a long and it is doing pretty good. Okay, so the new ones here, we got IZEA. Okay, IZEA. This was a short position. I wanted to go on it way back here, so early January. That would have been great, but I wasn't looking at the charts back then, so I hadn't actually turned my computer on, but I would have if I saw this. I instead last week put on a short position here at 407. It hasn't yet actually picked up on that order, so that is still just an order, hopefully. But you know, if it does come back up here to touch this trend line again, it will easily get picked up. And you know, this is one which again deserves to go down. You know, you can check out the revenues here, and you can see it's definitely expected to go down, no question about that. And finally, the last one of this week is a long order that I've put on. This one called GOS, which is Gossamer Biosciences. It's a long position, and you can see here it has been all the way up here at $15 before, currently just at 266, but it is now in a strong upward little formation going on there, so we're expecting it to go up. So here's some others in a sort of similar price range. So you can see they start off about 250. Next thing, they're rocketing all the way up to $6. This one is here, see, it started at $6, it's currently at 4, maybe it's going to go to 8. So these smaller stocks are just a lot more explosive, you know, than the higher value stocks. So this one here, look, it was down at just 70 cents not so long ago. Now it's at $2 and going up even more. So I definitely would recommend, rather than going for things like Tesla and Facebook and Google and all the usual stuff most people buy when they buy stocks, if you go at the smaller end of the market, you're definitely going to find stuff like this, stuff that you can buy at like 60 cents. And then in a couple of months, it's up at nearly $2. This is exactly the way that I ended up turning that $10,000 with crypto into over $500,000 in just a couple of years. And I think you can do this still with stocks, because stocks are incredibly volatile on the lower end, and it's a great opportunity for you to come in and make some easy money. Although nothing is easy, to be quite honest with you, you know, and if you don't have your eye on the market and you're not checking those charts every day, you can very easily lose money very, very quickly, as you saw me do over December and early January. Okay, so if you're not watching it, you can definitely lose your money pretty quick. So, but the opportunity is there, and that is the point of this video, just to let you know that, yeah, you may go down from time to time, but there's definitely more than enough opportunity for you to make the money back and more again if you actually look for it and take that chance. You don't have to go out and get a job if you don't want to. I've not worked since 2017. Hey, that's a story for another video. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next.